What is going on, guys? This is Dan here. Welcome back into the channel. Welcome to episode 37 of Disney Fiasco. How's it going, everybody? Thank you so much for spending the time out of your very busy weekend to come join us for our weekly show that we talk about all things Disney. We have a really fun show today. It could be really, really awesome. Unfortunately, Corey cannot make it in tonight, so we wish him all the best. I know he's going through a lot of stuff, but I hope Corey is good. But we have my partner channel, my friend, Megan from Mickey's Magic. It's good to see you. And thank you so much for last week for taking over the show.
Oh, of course. And I know that we all need a break sometimes. And sometimes it's hard to make it on these Saturday nights, but it was a lot of fun to do it with Steve and Jeff. So shout out to those guys for jumping in at the last minute just to hang out with us. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. It was nice to have Dole Whip Dad and Steve from Steve's World on last week. So please, a big shout out to them and go subscribe to them as well. We have some amazing people in the chat. We've got R. Johns, who finally got on Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster, and he said it was really good, which we'll obviously talk about today. We have Ohana, Our Disney Adventures is here. We have Liam. We have Brandon. We have Noah. We've got Jess. Jess says, I'll be watching the whole thing, may not be able to type much, Dan. That's fine. We've got Walt and Melissa, who did some awesome streams earlier in the week as well. Got Kay Atwood is here. Got some really awesome people in the chat. So please make sure, guys, we're hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and turning on those notification bells every time I go live. And also, please go check out my partner channels, Megan from Mickey's Magic and Corey Fiasco. So we are continuing our way around the Magic Kingdom. If you've not checked out our Main Street USA, which is probably one of my favorite episodes, as well as Tomorrowland, those are really fun episodes. Me and Meg have been working on those together, and we are making our way over to Fantasyland. Corey Meets World is here. How's it going, Corey? I know Corey is in DC right now, so I hope everything is fun. I hope you're having a great trip. Good to see you, my friend. And he also did a great video of fish and chips, Yorkshire tea caddy over by in the UK Pavilion in Epcot, and also at the Irish pub in Disney Springs. We've got Samantha Paxton is here. We've got Nathan is here. What is up, everybody? Good to see everybody. Yeah, Food Wars. Chris is here. Everyone's coming in now. D Hazel is here. Disney World Adventures. So it's good to see everybody. So yeah, we've been talking about Tomorrowland and Main Street USA, and this week it is Fantasyland. And Fantasyland, probably me and Meg can agree, is probably our favorite land in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, for sure. Magic Kingdom is my favorite park, and Fantasyland is probably my favorite part of that park.
Because it makes you feel like a kid, doesn't it? And it kind of sets the tone of everything. It makes you feel so much like a child. And I love Fantasyland, and we're going to be talking about that today. We've got Fearless Soul is here, Brandy and Dave. They've got a great channel as well, so please check them out. Lots of great channels here in the chat, so please go and check everybody out, all power channels. So yeah, Fantasyland. So what I thought this week was what we would do, we would talk about our rides, the atmosphere, kind of like our favorite things to do in Fantasyland. But I've kind of broken it up a little bit, because what we're going to do is talk about pre-2012 and post-2012, because 2012 was a key year for Fantasyland, where they opened New Fantasyland, and we'll talk about that. So let's talk about post-2012. This was before New Fantasyland opened. They had things like Dumbo, Prince Charming's Royal Carousel, It's a Small World, Peter Pan's Flight, Snow White's Scary Adventures, Princess Fairy Tale Hall, Winnie the Pooh, PhilharMagic, Pinocchio Village House, and Mad Tea Party. So I'm going to throw it out to you, Meg. What are some of the, in that area that I'm talking about, nothing to do with New Fantasyland, what's like your go-to place in Fantasyland?
So before, I'm getting confused. Before they made it New Fantasyland.
Yeah. So imagine, you know where those castle walls are?
Yeah.
Imagine that's all blocked off. There's no such thing as New Fantasyland. There's no Gaston's Tavern. There's no Little Mermaid. There's no Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster. What is something that you love that was already there before the New Fantasyland came about?
Yeah, so I know a lot of what is in old Fantasyland is still in Disneyland. So one thing that like was always, it scared the living bejesus out of me. It was so scary. But Snow White's Scary Adventures, I'm such a huge Snow White fan. I love the evil queen, but that ride was like terrifying for a kid. But then, like I said, like my mom and I are such huge, and my grandpa, like we're just huge Snow White fans. And I mean, I was never a huge fan. Dan, you're going to kill me. I was never a huge fan of Peter Pan. I love Peter Pan now as an adult, but I still would not ride that ride without a fast pass. So if I don't have a fast pass, I won't ride it. It's not my first choice, but I don't know. I miss, and a lot of people are probably going to say Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And I have been on that in Disneyland since New Fantasyland has been built. And I have been back on Snow White's Scary Adventures. But then, like, I don't know. I think, I'm just going to be honest, I don't think that Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is, like, a super appropriate ride for little kids to go on, because it's like this toad getting drunk and crashing his car and dying and going to this bad place. And I like the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh way better.
It's kind of weird. D. Hazel says, did you count Mickey's Toontown as part of Old Fantasyland? We will talk about Toontown when we talk about Storybook Circus in another stream, because I think I consider that a different land. It's weird when you think about Snow White's Scary Adventures and you talk about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, but there were so many kind of rides that were not appropriate in a land where it's mainly for kids. So you have something really dark and bit crazy like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, where you go, into this underworld kind of creepy atmosphere. And then you've got Snow White's, what was Snow White's Adventures, but it was so scary, they changed it to Snow White's Scary Adventures. When they kind of like turned the evil queen to turn into the old hag, it was terrifying.
That's so scary.
So scary. Like she was facing the mirror, all queen, and then bang. Like it's like, oh, you can actually like, and it was scary. Like they had to change the name because kids got scared on it. And it's weird to think like, you have something like the Haunted Mansion, which is around the corner, but Snow White's Scary Adventures was more scary than the Haunted Mansion.
Yes, 100%. And I remember Rachel either saying it on the stream here, or maybe I heard her about talking about it another time, but I remember she was saying that she would cry on Snow White's Scary Adventures anytime she'd go on it. And then she was like, oh my gosh, I was like 10. And then her dad piped in and he was like, no, you were like 15.
Yeah. It's just so weird that where you can see what Fantasyland was before where it is now is kind of strange. Hey Ruth Metcalf, what is going on? So it's kind of, I don't know, really, it's kind of like Fantasyland has always had that dark, mysterious atmosphere where you have those scary attractions. People somewhat believe that the Small World dolls are creepy and they come to life. So maybe there's something about Fantasyland that can be a bit eerie, more scary than something like the Haunted Mansion or Tower of Terror. It's quite hard to believe that, but you're right. So Snow White's Scary Adventures and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, two classic rides that left and were replaced by Winnie the Pooh and Princess Fairy Tale Hall. Let's talk about Winnie the Pooh, because I know you have one of your favorite Disney references that you picked up. I think it wasn't last trip, it was the trip before, right?
It was back in March.
So
whatever trip that was. I lost track.
do you want to explain that reference in Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, sure. So I would highly suggest anyone, well, really more so for annual pass holders, if you have the ability to go on any of the tours, I think they're really, really worth it. And you do have to have admission to go into the park, which is why I think it's more so for annual pass holders. But when you're in the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, you're going on this nice blistery, windy day. And so the first room you go in, you have like some of the notebook paper flying away, and then you see, you know, Pooh with a balloon, and everyone's like flying away. And then the next room you go into is Owl's house.
Yep.
And Owl's house is like there's wood everywhere, but immediately when you go into the room and you look to the left, there is like a portrait of Mr. Toad handing Owl the deed to his house because, like Dan just said, the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh took over Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. So they just pay a little bit of homage to that. And then also, he is in the pet cemetery at the Haunted Mansion too. So if you guys come out of the attraction for the Haunted Mansion, there's the pet cemetery on the left, and he's just like dead center. He's right there, our little toad friend.
It's great, and I actually love The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. The movie is always my go-to like Halloween film, apart from Nightmare Before Christmas. And I do love that reference in Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, where he does hand Mr. Toad, he does hand Owl the deed from Mr. Toad. I think it's great. Let's talk about Princess Fairy Tale Hall, what replaced Snow White's Scary Adventures. Now, the lineup at the moment is not Tangled, Rapunzel, Rapunzel and Tiana, Cinderella and Elena. Before there was Elena, they had Aurora. But because they introduced Elena of Avalor, the TV show, a couple of years ago, they put her in there as well. What do you think of Princess Fairy Tale Hall? Is it something that you do quite often? You know, would there be changes that you would like to see? Different princesses you'd like to meet?
Well, first I want to add too that originally, before they also added Tiana, they had Rapunzel and Cinderella meeting together, and then they had Anna and Elsa. And so that was when I was initially introduced to Princess Fairy Tale Hall. It was like in the midst of like the Frozen. Our movies compete, our Frozen craze. And so it was like 6-7 hour waits to go and meet Anna and Elsa, which I thought was the most ridiculous thing. But I do get fast passes for Princess Fairy Tale Hall. I'm not ashamed of that. Some of my favorite meet and greets are with Tiana and Rapunzel because they're so animated. I just did that on my last trip. I have no idea who Elena is, and so I tend to skip that one more than I do other line. When it was Aurora and Cinderella, I would do that one as often as Tiana and Rapunzel. And when it was Rapunzel and Cinderella, I would do that one often as well. I can never ever get fast passes for Anna and Elsa, so I only did that like once or twice when they were in that, and then now they moved to Epcot, so you can only meet them at Epcot. But I'm definitely a character meet person, so it is a must-do for me every trip. And yeah, what do you think about it, Dan?
Well, Brandy and Dave say agreed. Rapunzel and Tiana meet and greets are awesome, and I agree. I love. Well, the thing is, for me, when I used to go as a kid, I never loved meeting characters, never, ever, ever. But since my program, since I was a cast member, I now love meeting characters, and it was kind of like. It's kind of weird that when I had like time to myself and there were like not many fast passes available and I was on my own, sometimes I'll go and meet characters because they might have short waits. And you might have seen me on my own go and see, Cinderella and Elena or Rapunzel and Tiana because they are such fun characters to meet. And I think they are great, and I think they, there's no shame for any guy if he's on his own to go and meet the characters. If you love the characters, if you love the stories, and I do enjoy meeting them as well. I was one of the few people who managed to meet Aurora and Elena in the same year when they did the change. So it's kind of nice to have pictures with Cinderella and Aurora as well as Cinderella and Elena. Hey, Abby, what's going on? Main Street and Mickey are here. What's going on? So it was nice to, take pictures with Aurora because I feel like now she's quite a unique character to me, unless you see her in Epcot.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing I wanted to just quickly, I was just thinking about it as you were talking, that they have really beautiful portraits of all the
Yeah.
princesses when you're walking in the queue. And then at the end of the queue, so if you guys haven't been in there, there are two separate lines. So one to meet Rapunzel and Tiana, and the other one to meet Cinderella and Elena. And then so they sort of come together at the same point, and then they diverge. But in the center of both queues, you have Cinderella's glass slipper, and then you also, when you go into the separate rooms, they have this really nice Snow White book. It's in like German, and you can't like turn the pages or anything, but it's a beautifully illustrated book, and all the details in that building are incredible. And yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there too.
I like the fact that they go the extra details, and you know, those, like you said, those portraits are just beautiful, and you see Cinderella's glass slipper at the end of the queue, and when you actually go into where you meet the characters, so it's just so well designed. Like, everything looks very royal. It looks so nice. Would you like to meet different princesses on like a rotation, or would you rather have them, you know, see different princesses in different parts of Walt Disney World, like Pocahontas in Animal Kingdom, Mulan in China? Would you want to see a rotation, or would you keep it as it is? I maybe want to change Elena, because I think Elena has become a little less popular, just in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't watch any of the new Disney Channel stuff, so I wasn't familiar with Elena at all. I think it would be amazing if they could change out, like, sometimes they have like a visiting princess or something like that, but if they could do that every single day, I know that sometimes that would like mess up people's plans because it's very unexpected of who you might see. But for me, who has done that like plenty of times, I would love to see them switch out some of the prince. Like if you could squeeze in Jasmine or Mulan or Pocahontas, where you only meet her in Animal Kingdom, or, you know, just all these princesses that you could rotate in, that would be amazing.
Yeah. D. Hazel says, I find it weird that Elena has had a main spot at Princess Fairy Tale Hall for so long, but she is off a TV show, so I don't really know who she is. And I feel like that's like the main issue, because I mean, I've seen a couple of the episodes and she's a really great character. But again, it's really for the really young. It's mainly aimed at the really young girls who watch Disney Channel. I mean, if you asked a Disney fan like us, you may recognize the name, but you really don't know who she is, what's she about, what kind of things does she do, what's her sidekick's name, what's her, it's kind of like, who is this person?
I know none of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the really young girls who watch, or boys if they do watch it. But it's I think having something like maybe Jasmine, or a character that you can't see in Magic Kingdom, maybe be at another park, that might be cool as well. Or bring back a retro character. That'd be kind of cool as well. Cool. So Princess Fairy Tale Hall. Let's head over to one of the oldest, but probably one of the most expensive attractions in the whole of Disney, and that is Prince Charming's Regal Carousel. Now, Prince Charming's Regal Carousel is one of the oldest attractions in the whole of Disney, because actually it was made a year after Walt Disney was born in 1902. It has traveled all over the East Coast, being part of a train company, a fair company, all up down the East Coast, and then it ended up in Magic Kingdom. I can't even remember how much each horse is worth, but it's a lot of money. And they just did a complete refurbishment of the whole attraction, and it looks stunning. It really does.
It was under trim for like 6 or 7 months, and
it's crazy. 8 months, yeah.
Yeah, so I was there early in the year last year, and then in my trip in November, one day there was scrim, and literally the next day there was not scrim, and my mom was like, "Look," and I was like, "What?" And I was so used to there being scrim, like watching Resort TV 1 streams, everyone's streams who was going to Walt Disney World, specifically Magic Kingdom. I was like, wait, this scrim is gone.
It's finally gone. It's finally taken down. We finally have that screen gone. But it is such, I think it's such one of, it's weird because it's in the center of Fantasyland, but it's one of the most overlooked attractions. Because people either want to go on Peter Pan's flight, or want to go meet princesses, or or yeah, Mine Train. So, but I think I cannot actually tell you the last time I was on the carousel because I love just looking at it. I don't really ride it. I love looking at it, and it kind of just like just tortures me a little bit when I see all these people getting on these expensive horses and they don't realize how expensive every single horse is. But it is such a beautiful attraction. So much detail, so much history. If you guys haven't checked out the history of Prince Charming's Regal Carousel, I would highly do it because it's just crazy that this attraction is just as old as Walt. So yeah, hey Raphael, what is going on? Good to see you. When was the last time you rode the carousel?
I try and do it once a trip. This past trip was a little bit less crowded than it has been for me for the last, so I try and judge a busy day at Magic Kingdom when it's the carousel or it's a Small World. When it's like a 45-minute Small World, they have the extended queue out. I know it's a busy day. When they have the extended queue out for the carousel, I'm like, it's a busy day.
Yep.
So I try and get on early in the morning when I can literally just walk on. I do a nice ride. I think the music in there is so peaceful. Sometimes I don't even have to go on the ride. We'll just hang out around that central hub area of Fantasyland, which is where the carousel is, and we'll just listen to the music.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Small World was 80 minutes. I remember you told me that. No, that's unbelievable.
Big shout out to Steve's World who just came into the chat. Thank you, Steve, for attending Disney Fiasco last week. Please go check Steve out. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, it's kind of weird because, you know, every time I hear the music of the carousel, I'm like, well, I hear a lot chim chimney chim chimney.
I do too, yeah.
Chiroo, and it's all in that like really upbeat kind of high tone sound, and I just love it. It kind of it's like it's weird because it's kind of in the movie Mary Poppins, it's set quite in a dark tone, but when you just change the key and put it with a carousel, it kind of sums up Fantasyland. And we were talking about this with Tomorrowland and Main Street about the music, and it's weird that this song Chim Chimney Chim Chimney Chim Chim Chiroo from the carousel really does set Fantasyland. It's so bizarre.
I see D says my little girl and I rode the carousel with the stepsisters. It was hilarious. That is like literally a dream of mine. When I was in Disneyland, I saw Belle and Beast riding the carousel together, and I was like, what is this? Is this heaven? And so I got it on video. I didn't get to ride with them, but like the fact that the characters go on there, I have not seen it in person at Disney World.
No, neither have I.
Land, but oh my gosh, if I could ride the carousel with a character or two characters, it would be with either Belle or Beast or Drizella and Anastasia. That's amazing.
Yossification says, did you know about the carousel history? Yes, we were just talking about the history. Literally, I think about 5-ish minutes ago.
But they did not know about the carousel.
Oh, did not know about, sorry, the carousel history. It's midnight here, so I'm missing a lot of things. The history of the carousel is just amazing. And it's weird, you know, because apart from, I think, the Mad Teacups, it's one of the only rides that you'll actually see characters on. That would be pretty cool to see, you know, Belle or Beast or Anastasia or Drizella on the carousel. So Emma and John are here. What's up, Emma and John? That would be so awesome. I'd love to ride with the stepsisters. I've got a funny story about the stepsisters. Maybe when we talk about 1900 Park Fair, that would be kind of fun. So the carousel is an amazing attraction. And let's move on to an attraction called Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Now, like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about Storybook Circus and Toontown at another stream, but you got to remember Dumbo was actually right in the center of Fantasyland. It was right behind the carousel, right over by Pinocchio's, and it's kind of weird now that it's kind of you wouldn't think now that it would be there because we're now so used to having it in Storybook Circus, but at the time Dumbo was so incredibly popular that, you know, there were lines going round and round Fantasyland because it was the ride to go on. It was like the Fantasyland ride. Now, I can actually be honest, I actually haven't been on Dumbo for the last 2 years, because I don't think the popularity of Dumbo has, because it's now kind of like at the back of the park now, and it's kind of been like, hey, you got big Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster, and then behind it is Dumbo. So kind of people don't think that there is Dumbo back there, and it's a shame because I love Dumbo. What do you think? What do you think of Dumbo?
Well, I have to say, from my mom's point of view, that was like one of the only rides that we wanted to do when we were kids. She would tell us that we would wait an hour and a half, 2 hours to go on Dumbo for a minute and a half ride. In the heat, she would be like bringing fans with her. She'd be like, you know, I hear this every time we go and ride Dumbo because, as a lot of people know now, there are 2 Dumbos. Yeah. And it was, like I said, and you said, it just was the ride that everyone wanted to do. And for being a kid, we didn't have any thrill rides in Fantasyland, and that's not really what it was about. It was about being able to fly and go up on, hi Donna, oh my gosh, I love when Donna comes in, it always makes my night. And just like to be able to go up so high and see the castle and see everything as if you were a flying elephant. Yeah. And we go on Dumbo every time we're there. We go on at least once, if not more than once. We never ever stop. The other thing that they added was this play while you wait, which is an amazing thing for kids. And it's air conditioned. It's like holding your spot in line if you want to go, your kids want to play for like 45 minutes in the air conditioning in this little circus tent. I do not need to do that. So I just like usually walk right on the line. I usually can pick up a fast pass for it really, really quickly. So I never ever really wait in the normal standby line, but it's still a really nice ride for me, but it's nothing compared to what it was when I was a kid. I thought it was the most amazing thing.
And Chris said, Disney World Adventure said, I waited with my kid sister for Dumbo back in the 80s because that's, what it was like. Like it was so, everybody wanted to ride Dumbo. Yeah, Dumbo got doubled, says WD Gaming. So Dana is here. It's good to see Dana. Always love Dana coming into the stream. Main Street Mickey says, Abby says, I waited in there once and it was so cute, but got old after a while. Yeah, right? I think it is really for the kids, but
it's like when you're walking in the I love seeing all the things in line to sort of keep you occupied or especially kids, but the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Yep. I cannot stand that line because of the noise.
I do love and hate it because I love it. I'm so like just want to like do all the fun things that you can do in the line, but it's when all the balls rattle in the little cages. It's just like quiet. Awesome. Right now, so we talked about Dumbo the Flying Elephant. We'll talk about more of that in another stream. But let's head over to the 2 big rides before 2012, and they're still big rides. They're classic rides. And let's talk about It's a Small World. It's a Small World debuted at the New York World's Fair. It was kind of like with the Carousel of Progress, the Disney ride. It was the ride that he brought to the World's Fair. It was so successful and so loved that it's now a staple in most parks. Now, you either love the It's a Small World song or you don't like It's a Small World song. For me, I personally love it. I think It's a Small World, I think apart from the song itself, if you get over the fact that it's very repetitive, you listen to the words, you listen to what the message is of It's a Small World, it is one of the most heartwarming things. And I feel like, outside of the Disney bubble, there's so much negativity that this song is a great way to be like, hey, we're all on this world together. It is a small world. We need to be united. And that's what It's a Small World does so well. I love It's a Small World. For me, it's a must every single time I'm at Magic Kingdom. People love it. People don't love it. That's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But for me, it's a must. What about you, Meg?
So it's definitely a must for every trip, not necessarily every time I'm in Magic Kingdom, because while I love it, I love boat rides. I do love Grand Fiesta Tour way more, and it's a very similar ride. I prefer Disneyland's version of It's a Small World.
Okay.
I prefer the outside facade. I prefer the rooms in Disneyland's It's a Small World, but I do like the idea of it. I think it's such a classic attraction. I know so many, like, I'm thinking right in my head, like, my thought immediately goes to Taryn, who absolutely adores It's a Small World. She collects pins for It's a Small World.
Yep.
And just, like, some people, like you said, really love it. I'm sort of in the middle. I don't hate it. I mean, I think it's nice, but I won't do it. You know, like little kids, when I was a little kid, I would want to do it 5, 6, 7 times in a row, my poor parents. And it's a really nice song once you get to the very end and you get stuck and you like pile up every boat and then you're stuck in that one room. I love the addition of the last room now, like when you're exiting, where they have your names.
The interaction, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that's a wonderful interaction for the guests. That's the one thing that I really look forward to now when I'm riding the attraction. But I think, like, just how innovative was it for them to create this?
Yeah.
And it's still going strong. I mean, it hasn't really changed. And I love looking for hidden Mickeys in that ride. My favorite room is the Polynesian room, and
me too.
I think it's a really beautiful ride.
Yeah. I like the hula girls that go like the whole like jittery. Main Street Mickey says, Abby says, I read the Kingdom Keepers and now I can never Small World the same again. Now that's funny you should say that, because yesterday, a big shout out to Rob Fuzz. We were talking about the Kingdom Keepers book series, and if anybody's ever read the Kingdom Keepers book series, it does kind of talk about It's a Small World in a very different way, kind of what happens beyond the park. So it's kind of interesting. Thank you, Donna. I really appreciate that. Now let's hop over to the other side of that kind of walkway to an attraction which, for me, apart from the Haunted Mansion, is my most loved favorite ride ever. Adam's Land just jumps right in and says, please tell me you're not talking about Small World. Luckily for you, Adam, we're about to move on.
We're done
now. Now, for me, apart from Haunted Mansion, I love Peter Pan's Flight. Peter Pan's Flight, for me, I mean, if anybody knows me and been following me for a long time, Peter Pan is my favorite ride. It's my favorite attraction. It's my favorite movie. It's my favorite character, because it means so much to me in terms of personal issues and personal things. You know, for me, it was never about Superman, Batman, that kind of thing. Peter Pan was always the character I always wanted to be, and I kind of like take inspiration that I've never wanted to grow up. I'm still kind of a child at heart. Hey, D&G Explorers, what's going on? Good to see you. Just had a soda, so if I start burping, I'll make sure I get sponsored by you, as well as Rob Fuzz. Hey, Rachel, what is up? Disney Princess Couture is in the house, and as you know, okay, let's hold the show. Let's hold on. Let's just do the big announcement right now, Meg. Should we just do the big announcement?
Well, I just want to tell Rachel that we were talking about her earlier, because Rachel, we were talking about Snow White's Scary Adventures, and I just remember you saying that you were like, "Oh, I would cry on it when I was like 10," and then your dad was like, "No, you were like 15."
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's just do the big announcement as Rachel is here. Next week, Rachel will be back on Disney Fiasco. Hopefully everything will be turning out all well, but we are going to announce it right now that Meg, hopefully Corey, Rachel, and another special guest next week, Disney Fiasco, for a very special episode. So yeah, Rachel hopefully will be back with us next week. It'll be super fun. So yeah, big announcement, like mic drop, mind blown. Hopefully everybody's going crazy. Yes, I was 17. I love it. Hey, human person, welcome into the stream. Good to see you as well.
So be sure to come next week. We're gonna have Dan and all the ladies. Woo woo. Hi,
and Corey.
And Corey is an honorary lady. I think we covered this before. He wears ears. He wears earrings. He likes makeup, which I don't know. I think he accepts. So
I think he accepts it. So yeah, it will be me and all the ladies next week, which will be really, really exciting. And obviously because it's me and the ladies, the princesses, it'll be princess themed next week. So please come by next week. It'll be a lot of fun. Peter Pan's flight, because we got a little bit distracted with that. Look, I love Peter Pan's flight. I think it's an attraction that means a lot to me personally. For me, the reason why it doesn't beat Haunted Mansion is because it's always a massive wait. And I will always fast pass it. I will never stand in line for it. And also, I wish it was maybe like another minute or 2 minutes longer, because I feel like it's very short. But I love the classic animatronics. I love everything about it. And it just makes me feel like it makes me feel like a kid. So, and I know it's not everybody's favorite attraction, but Peter Pan's flight is my favorite attraction in Fantasyland. Meg, what do you think of Peter Pan's flight? I know we touched upon it earlier, but what do you like about it?
So I do love how it's like really the only dark ride left. Before, obviously, there were more dark rides. I think they do an incredible job with the theming in there. It is always such a very vibrant ride when you're going. I think it is very magical. It makes me think that I'm in Disney. I agree with you. I think that it was a little bit longer. And I also agree that I would never, ever wait in the seat.
Although the standby line is really cool. I've done it once.
Yeah, I have never seen it, but I've seen video of it.
Yeah, it is really cool. But you can only really do it opening like rope drop.
Yeah. So I tend to focus my like rope dropping on like Seven Dwarves
Space Mountain.
Yeah, we'll go and do other things. And ironically, Peter Pan was closed when I was just there, so it is the Yostification. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It says like you're hanging out with Walt. Yeah. That's exactly what it feels like. It feels like you're in the movie, you're in the animated film. So, I mean, I really appreciate that quality and that it was an opening day attraction, right?
Yes.
I think it was.
Magic Kingdom, yes.
Yeah, so I think it has that nostalgia feeling. Even though I wasn't around when Disney World opened, it just feels like I could have been there, Yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right. And I think, because it means a lot to people, it's kind of like, it kind of does sum up Fantasyland. It's kind of like you always want to be a kid. It's a kid's, it's for all the children. So, I think Peter Pan is a great ride. I wish it was a tiny bit longer, but the animatronics are phenomenal. Now, 2009 was a very big year. D23 was the first year of D23, and they announced the expansion of Fantasyland. Fantasyland was being like, you know what? Fantasyland is a bit small. We're going to expand it. And that's all going to open in 2012. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off some concepts that were going to happen in Fantasyland that never, ever got made. And I want to see in the chat whether you thought that might have been a good idea. If you like it, Meg and I will talk about it. Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk about Cinderella. Now, Cinderella already has Prince Charming Regal Carousel, and it also has the castle. But you're also going to meet Cinderella in her own country chateau, where you'll see her transform into her ball gown. What do you think of that? That might have been quite an interesting concept right there.
Yeah, it almost kind of reminds me of Enchanted Tales with Belle. Like it has that sort of sense of experience. I don't know. I'm not like, I love Cinderella, but I love other princesses more. Yep. So I think I would have definitely have done that. And it would have been a really cool thing to see. I don't know where they would have put it.
Nope. no, remember this was all a concept, so we actually don't know where this all would have gone.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the concepts that we'll talk about, they kind of all put it kind of together, and you'll see why some of them were dropped. For example, this one was you're going to meet Sleeping Beauty in her cottage for her sweet 16 birthday, where you're going to make cards, and you're going to, you know, as soon as she wakes up, you'll all shout surprise. That was going to be a concept. I can see why that would be quite resource heavy, and I can't see it being very, you know, practical. Like I feel like it's not a ride or an attraction. It's kind of just like a little thing that you would hang out with with Aurora.
It's like literally Enchanted Tales with Belle, and you actually just say surprise, like.
And now you can see kind of like where everything is formed into. And the last thing that they were going to do was they were going to make Pixie Hollow. And if you don't know Pixie Hollow, that is where Tinkerbell and her friends live. And you're going to kind of like Pandora. It's going to be all fluorescent lighting with the big tree. And you're going to meet all of Tinkerbell's friends and her in Pixie Hollow. Now, we know now that you can actually go and meet Tinkerbell in Town Square, where you can go into Pixie Hollow, but it's only really kind of like a set. But you're actually going to meet, you actually were going to be transformed to the size of a pixie, a fairy, and go to Pixie Hollow. I think that would have been kind of cool. Something very different. And I know they have Pixie Hollow, or they did. I don't know if they still have it in Disneyland. Do they still have it in Disneyland?
So they have it for like almost the same sort of setup that we have it, like where you just go and meet the character.
Right.
Yeah, but it's much more themed. Like it's outside. The theming is really incredible. It's just nothing like what we have in Walt Disney World, but it's a similar like meet and greet.
And Brandy and Dave said, I think they missed the boat with Pixie Hollow. And I do kind of agree with that. And a lot of people are saying, you know, they kind of like all these concept arts and concept ideas are linked to Enchanted Tales with Belle, because in 2012, it finally opened. We finally have New Fantasyland, and you know we're a bit short on time, so I'm going to rush through this. There's two main movies that they focused on for New Fantasyland, which was Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid. Let's talk about The Little Mermaid first, because I think there's a little less for The Little Mermaid. It only has Journey Under the Sea with The Little Mermaid. For me, I think it's one of the most beautifully visual exteriors for any attraction. I think just the look of Eric's castle is straight out of the movie. The way you enter the ride, where you go underneath the castle, is very well themed. And I think, and we've spoken about, you know, the animatronics and Ursula many times. But I think we can agree that Journey Under the Sea with The Little Mermaid is one of our favorite rides at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, Disneyland or Disney California Adventure also has like the same ride. So I think it's really interesting that we both can experience it on both coasts.
Yep.
As Dan really hinted at, visually, it's very, very beautiful. And only like, I don't know, 8-9 months ago, I realized that when you were going backwards and you saw the bubbles, like you were going under the sea, and then when you were going back up the slant, you were going up onto land. So that took me a while. And I think the animatronics in there are really awesome too. Like Ursula is one of my favorite animatronics in all of
steals the show, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's unbelievable. Just it's so beautiful. All the colors are so vivid. I love all the music choices. I mean, obviously I love Ariel, so I love getting to go on that. It's like one of the rides that almost never has a wait, or you can always get a fast pass for. So that's also really wonderful.
Yeah. And
yeah, I think the queue itself is like one of the most beautiful queues I've seen, maybe besides like Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
But it's just really beautiful. They were so detail oriented, and you see all her gadgets and gizmos aplenty. And I just always try and find like little circles in the rocks that look like Mickeys. I'm sure there are like thousands.
Yeah, I love the whole queue for little, and I think that's what Fantasyland does really well with its queues. Thank you everybody for posting all the links in the chat. I really do appreciate it. Please also put in the chat links to Meg's and Corey's channels as well, please. That would be fantabulous. Fantabulous? Why did I say fantabulous?
I know Donna posted some of my links too, so thanks, Donna.
But let's talk about, for me, what the whole of New Fantasyland was really focused on, and that was Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast, without a doubt, is, you know, probably in my top 3 favorite movies, Disney movies ever. Hey, Stacey Rogers, how's it going? And I think what they've done with Beauty and the Beast in New Fantasyland is phenomenal. I really do. They've done so much detail. You know, you have the Be Our Guest restaurant. I know it's only taken 45 minutes to talk about food, but it's actually amazing. I've been there for lunch and only for lunch, and I love it for lunch, but it's virtually impossible to get a reservation unless you are there 180 days in advance, so you're super lucky. I do love the food there. I think Gaston's Tavern is a great breakfast place to go for these cinnamon rolls, for the LeFou's brew. Oh my god, that is good.
I need to try that.
Oh my god. Okay. Extra magic hours in the morning, Meg. You need to go to the back of Fantasyland and get yourself a LeFou's brew, because it is like the most delicious thing. If you love like oh my gosh, it's like apple flavored.
Yeah.
It's like butterbeer, but like a lot better.
So I just like recently found out that it was vegan. So I never knew that it was vegan until just like this last trip. And it's so hard to do extra magic hours because I almost never stay at a Disney resort. But I also just want to like throw in this, like, so you went to Be Our Guest for lunch, and ironically, I've been there for breakfast and dinner. So we've got all 3 meals covered.
Oh yeah. And I think we've both tried the gray stuff. What do you think of the gray stuff?
I can't eat the gray stuff. I wish I could. But
I set you up there, but you didn't go for it.
Sorry. I wish. The gray stuff, it's delicious. Don't believe me.
Ask Dan.
So for me, I had a really good experience at breakfast. And, well, I enjoyed my dinner, like food, but I didn't necessarily enjoy my service as much. I felt like the woman, so like breakfast and lunch are quick service, dinner is table service, and before I went, like when I was going to eat dinner, it was not a prefix menu, so now it's a prefix menu, and Chris likes the gray stuff. And so like when I was going, I was able to choose things off the menu at like whatever cost it was, and the waitress that I had was like really pushy and like trying to have me try different things, and like she's like, oh, you must be so hungry, and I didn't even end up eating like my entree because she had me get an appetizer to try, and I was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have gotten like an appetizer.
Yeah.
But then it is also the only place that you can meet the Beast in all of Walt Disney World. So like that was my Christmas present last year. It's like for 2017, like to go and hey, Veronica and Nate. They like the gray stuff too. I'm sure they've been there like a lot of times. But for me, I don't know. I haven't been able to try it. But for breakfast, they brought me like these really wonderful like allergy breads for me to try. And oh my gosh, I would only eat those if I could for breakfast. I think they were from Aaron McKenna's bakery from like Disney Springs.
Yep.
And oh my gosh, like it was chocolatey goodness. It was so like I had so much sugar that morning because I had French toast too.
I think what we need to do is talk about more food at another stream, and we need to bring in Nate and Veronica because guys, if you've not checked out Paging Mr. Morrow, they do a unbelievable job with all the attractions here in Orlando, not here in Orlando because I'm in London, but over in there in Orlando. They did a recent video of Trails at End, and it just got me so hungry. Oh my gosh.
Like, if you guys don't watch Paging Mr. Morrow, I'm sure you guys do. Like, literally, I was having like the worst day, and I watched this video of Nate going into Epcot, and he just like laid down on the ground. And I was crying because I was laughing so hard. And so, like, if you guys like anything Disney or just like laughing, go watch their videos, because
there was a great we're gonna get completely off track, but they do this great thing. They did it at the Three Broomsticks over at the other place down the street from Disney, right at the end of the video, where Nate just shouts out the time in front of the whole restaurant. And I was just like losing my mind of just how funny they are. Like these guys are absolutely awesome, and
our fellow Haunted Mansion lovers.
So and they're just such great supporters of the channel. So I really do appreciate them stopping by and checking out the channel and checking out the stream. So thank you so much, Nate and Veronica. And we need to go and eat when I come to Florida, because
all the food.
We'll go and hang out.
It's not like
drinks on me.
Fridays. It's like food every day.
Exactly. So yeah, be our guest, and LeFou's brew over at Gaston's Tavern is something it's so good, and I'm gonna absolutely recommend to everybody go and have LeFou's brew.
I need to now.
You'll message me say, "Oh, Dan, you were so right."
Yeah.
And they also, they brought in a meet and greet with Gaston, which I know is very popular with the ladies and with some of the men as well. You can see some amazing videos of Gaston doing push-ups with these other guys. It's fantastic, and all the girls are like just being all cutesy over him, and it's really great. Really, really fantastic meet and greet there. I've never actually met him myself because I don't want him to get embarrassed with my physique.
You don't want him to get jealous?
I don't want him to get jealous. But he's absolutely great. Hey, Isaac Nail, what is up? It's good to see you as well. And they also brought in Enchanted Tales with Belle. Now, this kind of was like what the concept was for all these different ideas with the chateau with Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty's Sweet 16 kind of party. This was kind of all put together with Belle and Enchanted Tales with Belle. And I think it's a fantastic attraction, definitely for the younger kids at heart, and the younger girls and the younger boys who want to be knights or be the role of the beast and meet Belle. I think it's a really great idea. So I think it's a great attraction. And yeah, I really do enjoy how you go from, Belle's cottage, Maurice's cottage, into the library of the beast. So yeah, I can't say any good things. A really great imagineered attraction, imagineering. I don't know.
Imagineering, a new verb.
Imagine. I've made up a word that was already a word that was made up.
Yep.
There we go.
A double made up word.
So yeah, have you checked? I'm assuming you've checked out Enchanted Tales of Belle.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Dan, let me tell you a quick story. One day, I was at my first Mickey's Mouse So Scary Halloween party, which is hard to believe because you know how much I love Mickey's Mouse.
You love your Halloween.
So this was quite a while ago. And I was like, wow, it's really, really toasty outside. And I'm going to go in, do Enchanted Tales with Belle. I had done it previously. It was my dad's first time doing it, and they were giving out the rolls, and like no one was there. There was like 2 kids, and they were kind of upset. I don't know what they were doing, so I got to be the beast. And so I danced with Belle, and I almost cried because like that was an amazing moment in my life. Which is really sad, but it was for me. And I have a really good friend, Catherine, who's also really into Disney, and Beauty and the Beast is her favorite show or favorite movie. And Enchanted Tales with Belle is like her favorite thing because this is like the only place that you're like guaranteed to meet Belle in her yellow dress without going to like a character dining. And so you can meet Belle in her blue peasant dress, or provincial dress, whatever you want to call it, in Epcot. But yes, Meg the Beast, roar! That's what I did. I just like jumped up and I was like, roar! And then I got to wear the little cape, and then I danced with her. It amazing.
That's
but
amazing.
You're guaranteed to meet her, and if you aren't picked for a role, just go up and ask a cast member to like, hey, can I get a picture with Belle? And they'd be so willing to have you go up and get a picture, and then she gives you a bookmark, which is awesome. Free souvenir.
Free souvenir, exactly. So yeah, that's Fantasyland. I think overall we both absolutely love Fantasyland. I think it's a part of Disney that really resonates to us as children, as fans of Disney, and brings that childhood out in probably the most like happy place, despite some of the dark attractions that were there years and years ago. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for stopping by for Disney Fiasco. Episode 37 is in the book. Like I said, next week, big episode. Meg from Mickey's Magic, Corey from Corey Fiasco, Disney Princess Couture. Rachel will be joining us as well as Natalie Ever After, a YouTube channel who've been supporting me for a couple of years, and she's absolutely great. She really gets involved with the whole Disney princess kind of role. So she'll be joining us as well for a big princess takeover next week. It's gonna be an awesome stream next week, but thank you so much again for this week. Thank you everybody who joined us today. So Mouse Talk, the Jedi Master, Bax, D Hazel, Yossification, D&G Explorers, Donna, of course, Jill, Brandy, and Dave, and we can't not forget Nate and Veronica from Paging Mr. Morrow, as well as Rachel from Disney Princess Couture, Jill, Isaac Nail, Abby from Mainstream Mickey, Mai Ohana, Our Disney Adventures, Chris from Disney World Adventures, Stacey Rogers, Ruth Metcalf, Kay Atwood, so many wonderful people. Noah as well. We cannot be any grateful for you guys joining us every single week. You guys are absolutely awesome. Big just shout out to Corey as well. Please go check out Corey Fiasco partner channel. Absolutely awesome channel. He's just hit over 2,000 subscribers, which is incredible.
Yeah,
and speaking of milestones, you just crossed 1,700 subscribers.
I did. Isn't that crazy?
Congratulations.
I just thank you so much. I don't even know how I got here, so I'm just along for the ride.
Well, if you guys have not checked out Mickey's Magic, I don't know what you guys are doing. I think everybody here has subscribed to Meg.
I'm here every week.
You're here every week. Absolutely amazing. You're even here when I'm not here, and you got, with everything that's going on, you just put out amazing content, and we're just great friends over this awesome love of Disney. So guys, please go subscribe to Mickey's Magic if you haven't done so. And any upcoming videos, anything? I know you've moved your streams to Wednesdays, which is exciting.
Yes, that is up. So I forgot to mention that last week when it was on my channel. So I'm happy that you brought it up again. So I was sort of telling Dan about my schedule, and school has been really crazy for me this semester thus far. So I have class, I'm like literally gone all day Monday. And unfortunately, I won't be able to stream on Mondays, at least for this semester. I'm not sure about in the future. So right now it's going to be Wednesdays in Wonderland. So shout out to Corey because he came up with that name. And if you guys are able to make it on Wednesdays, I know some people said that they won't be able to make it on Wednesdays. I'm so sorry. But right now it's Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. I just put out a video yesterday about what I bought at Walt Disney World. And tomorrow I am putting out a video about a pin tag. So if you like Disney pins, go check that one out. Yeah. I was confused about like what videos I'm putting out, or, it just goes so quick.
It goes so quick. We could both say we've got to give a big thank you to theliveplace.com, who both sponsor our channels, posting our streams on theliveplace.com. They are absolutely wonderful. Dean does an amazing job with the website. So if you have not checked out theliveplace.com, awesome sponsors for my channel, as well as Meg's, as well as some others in the chat as we speak right now, like Mouse Talk. So please check out thelifeplace.com to see all your family friendly channels where they do family friendly streams, not just Disney, but mostly Disney. For me, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We are something like 70 subscribers away. So I want everybody to be like, go subscribe to Dan. Dan's the guy. We got 1,000 right around the corner. I've got some incredible things. And yes, 24-hour stream once I hit 1,000 subscribers. I know everyone's been begging me to do another one.
Is it real? But is it really 24 hours?
It will be an actual 24-hour live stream when I hit 1,000 subscribers, and it's going to be an amazing time. I'm going to be super tired, but I have promised ever since I hit 300 subscribers that when I hit 1,000, we're going to do 24 hours, full 24 hours.
I have an idea for you. Let's Arjons, don't go yet, because you'll like this idea. You watch Lord of the Rings, and we watch Lord of the Rings along with you. So that way, for people who haven't seen Lord of the Rings, they can watch it and then learn how amazing it is and not fall asleep, aka Richard. So he said it was like melatonin, which it's not. Don't listen to him, guys. Lord of the Rings.
Arjons is like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I'm not leaving yet. But yes, Abby says yes, guys. Lord of the Rings watch-a-thon.
I love the fact that Meg has already decided what I'm doing for my 24-hour live stream, but that's only 9 hours. So
yes, everyone's agreeing, but Arjons, he's already asleep. It's putting him to sleep.
Oh, we do love Arjons. Such a great guy.
Arjons is the best. Honestly, Arjons is
the nicest guy.
Yeah.
But guys, I just want to say a big thank you again. Road to 1,000. We are making our way there, edging closer. I've got a couple of videos coming out this week as well. Disney Food Fridays are back, and you guys are loving it. I just did a video on the Earl of Sandwich, which is it's going to make you hungry. I don't care. It's going to make you hungry. So go watch it and leave a like as well. And that reminds me, leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well. I really do appreciate it. And you can follow both of us on Twitter and on Instagram at Mickey's Magic and at Disney Dan. And we hope to see you all next week for an amazing Disney Princess takeover with Rachel from Disney Princess Couture, as well as my partner channels and Natalie Ever After. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a magical day, everybody. Live your life with a smile each and every day, and I'll see you guys all real soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.